Hello, everyone. My name is John D. Bartola.
Joe Taranto.
Folks, today we want to talk about political whiplash. That's the term I used on Facebook yesterday for what Reverend Sylvia King is doing in our community. Let's trace the history of this.
Okay.
So, during the debate, when I said there was a crime problem, I called for more policing, I called for more proactive steps to address the crime. What did Sylvia say?
Well, she specifically said you can't police your way out of it, and then went on a diatribe about how it's hard to bring in more police. So it was kind
Yeah.
of convoluted in her answer, anyways. If anybody was actually listening and had a brain cell, it didn't make any sense. But then at the end, she said, and it's all BS because Johnstown's still friendly,
Many
safe.
people feel safe here because they do not feel that it is the crime-ridden city that Mr. DeBartolo tries to make it out to be. It is not. We are still clean. We are still safe. We are still friendly. We have
Joe and I had called for a police substation in Moxham at the time. We wanted to work with
That's been something we've
Representative
been asking for a
years.
long time.
We wanted to work with Representative Frank Burns to get a grant.
Anybody
to start addressing the serious lack of policing because we have a crime problem.
Yes, we do.
So then we fast forward 3 weeks ago. As you all know, we've had 6 shootings in the area, 5 shootings in the city proper. Sylvia first said it was the fault of the individual.
Yeah, they can't tell individuals how to act.
If we could hire 50 more police officers, we could hire 50 more police officers, okay? But if you as an individual have made the decision in your heart that that's what you're going to do, how could I stop you? We have to put the blame where it belongs. And when we continue to blame everything and everybody else, it actually takes away, it distracts from the responsibility of the person who committed it.
And then they did a prayer
Peace
walk.
They prayed through Moxham
and said that it, quote unquote, worked. It worked.
She literally put a post up saying neighbors coming together, yada yada. Sunday night, folks, on Mother's Day, we have a shooting at the Kernville McDonald's.
Well, and it's right outside her door of her
Well,
church.
that's down the road. Then there was another shooting yesterday right outside her church at the Somerset Park on Somerset Street. A 15-year-old allegedly shot a 30-year-old fatally and killed him. So now that there's a shooting outside Sylvia's church where she allegedly lives, rumor is she lives somewhere in Richland, but she uses that as her legal address. Now they're going to form a task force. I'm doing my Dr. Evil task force.
Which is, I mean, we're going to have a meeting to talk about something. And let's translate this into from political speech to like normal people. That's political speech for we're going to put together a meeting to make it look like we're doing something. And the case in point is that this has all happened before.
Folks, her task force is going to be the city council members, the department heads. Their exact quote on the news was, "Enough is enough." Folks, I want to remind you all of something. And Joe and I have been, I don't know what you call it, political.
There's nothing that stops crime and violence like stern language.
This started, Sylvia was part of the crime commission with Representative Barbin 15 years ago. She was on it. This was an actual final report issued in July of 2013. William McKinney was the chairman on the rehabilitation programs. He is currently on the Housing Authority appointed by Sylvia.
And he was a backer of many of the people.
He put money out. Sylvia King was on this, Representative Barbin, Michael Walter, the district first assistant DA Heath Long, the former police chief Craig Faust, Reverend Robin Wagner, John Slezak, who was also on the current Housing Authority board for 15 years, George Evansko, James White, who was on the Planning Commission, Michael Dady, who is the current acting superintendent of the Greater Johnstown School District.
Is his daughter the one that steals stuff?
I have no idea.
White?
Oh, White. Tony White. Yeah. Tony White.
Is that his relation?
She now is singing in Sylvia's church because she's found God after allegedly stealing $43,000.
Yes. What did she steal from?
The Greater Johnstown School District band booster. Okay, 43,000. And she's allegedly pleaded guilty. And we have Mike Artem, who is one of the subcommittee education chairmen. Mike, as you all know, had balance and then moved.
He left.
And folks, it is completely ridiculous. So let's take a look at some of the recommendations that Sylvia had.
And as you read them, I'll post a picture of it.
Oh yeah,
so people can see them.
15 years, folks, and she's on this. They never followed through with their task force 15 years
No.
ago.
No.
They
So
took 3 years to compile this.
they use this as a political cudgel a while back in 13,
Yeah,
but never did anything with it. And she's been on council now
9 years.
for almost
9
a
years.
decade.
All you people online go and give her a chance. You just got it. And folks, Sylvia was this is her 3rd term on council.
And when we go through some of the things on housing, when I was on housing, this was what was out, and I implemented some of these things, and they shot them all down.
Let's go one by one,
They
folks.
shot them down.
Encourage all city landlords to join the Greater Johnstown Landlords Association and provide a model lease including standard eviction language to all landlords at the time of registration.
Yeah, that's never happened.
Issue a bumper window registration stickers for Johnstown City residents to help track who a resident and who is not a resident.
Funny story. I was so strict in trying to do inspections and things with landlords that the people from the landlord association were surprised to find out that I myself was a landlord. Because I remember I was trying to implement things. I was trying to implement the insurance on property, and I said you can have insurance or a $10,000 bond, and they were losing their mind over that. And then I'm like, well, I have rentals too, and they're like, oh, what, you do? And I'm like, I already have them insured. I do everything that I'm asking other people to do. So as much as people get on me about it, especially certain people, like
Sylvia, you called him a slumlord. Shame on you.
Yeah, she did.
She attacked us, and she never apologized. Where's her?
I don't.
But anyway, next, landlords with multiple code violations must be held accountable for their properties. We haven't seen that in 15 years.
What about homeowners with multiple violations?
Incentives, penalties for corrective action should make it worthwhile, in quotes, to the landlords to change their business practices.
Yeah, they want to be hard on landlords because
help landlords to be acknowledgeable about any crime police calls that relate to their properties.
Never happens. I know that for a fact. Because people will say something happened, and I said, well, they don't tell me.
Publicize city programs for affordable home ownership. That they did do during COVID.
Some.
But it wasn't utilized well. Strengthen efforts to deepen the regional relational aspects of neighborhoods. Just because Vision has a capture team called United Neighborhoods and 5 people meet in Sylvia's church doesn't mean you're actually doing that. Appoint a member of Johnstown City Council to sit on the JHA board to improve communication between the two bodies. They did do.
I was on council, and then I was on the housing authority, and they slammed me for it.
Yes.
And I said, but this is what they wanted.
And they voted for this, but they talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Yeah, this is what was in their thing. I said, well, I'll be on both. And then they trashed me for it.
Place a moratorium on additional public housing Section 8 vouchers until the concentration of poverty improves in the city.
And when I was on housing, we shut down Section 8.
And there's an asterisk. This was the recommendation, was reviewed with Pittsburgh field office at HUD. The recommendation requires HUD approval based on a showing of cause. Folks, every time the city council has voted on the 5-year housing plan, they have voted to increase public housing. Increase.
And we have done videos pointing out their 5-year consolidated plan to increase it. I point out that line.
And as I like to give you proof of what I'm talking about, I have 2 excerpts from previous city comprehensive plans. This first one here will be from 2015, and as it states, the needs of individuals, not residents of public housing or housing choice voucher holders, but who are low income, are similar. They also struggle with housing affordability and access, and I underline here for you to look at, there is not enough subsidized housing available to meet the need. That is from the 2015 version. And then 2 spots here in the 2020 version for the comprehensive plan. The first one here, generational poverty is common both throughout the city and specifically JHA properties, and there is a need to provide skills training for financial management. And then I have this underlined, there is not enough subsidized housing available to meet the need. So here we have, and then on page number, it was 62, and then on page 92, again, the same thing. Not enough subsidized housing available to meet the need. 2 places. That is what HUD and other agencies are looking for. When our municipality, being the city of Johnstown, asks, or not asks for, but makes the statement that there is not enough subsidized housing, that means that they want more. We are telling the people up the chain in the federal government, we need more. Well, some might think it's the end of June, moving into July. But in the city of Johnstown, one might be confused and think it is Groundhog's Day, because once again, the city of Johnstown, in their 5-year consolidated plan, is going to ask for more subsidized housing. Yeah, that's right. Every 5 years, the city of Johnstown, although the people complain and don't want any more, they tell their council people, we don't want any more subsidized housing. What does our city council do? If you guys ask for more subsidized housing, you would be correct. Over and over again, just like Groundhog's Day. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at page 78 of the 2025 to 2029 5-year consolidated plan for the city of Johnstown. Once again, as we warned you prior, they mention right in here that there is not enough livable subsidized housing available to meet the need. Now, they did change it. Now they call it livable subsidized housing. Before they were just saying there was not enough subsidized housing. Now it's not enough livable subsidized housing, but again, it's still requesting more subsidized housing. Let's take a look at some other incidents where they're talking about subsidized housing in the this current year's plan, and see how council is going to vote on it. But they mentioned subsidized housing 4 times now in this particular draft. So on page 86, they mention subsidized housing and a need for it twice. Interestingly enough, under elderly persons, they say there is 91 elderly persons that are in need of subsidized housing based on the Johnstown Housing Authority waitlist. And there's also 91 mentally and physically disabled persons that are in need of subsidized housing based on that same waitlist. So apparently there's either it's either some type of fluke where there's both 91 of each, or they're just counting them as the same number. But that is the numbers they are using. They are saying there's 91 elderly and mentally and physically disabled people on the waiting list for subsidized housing.
Language. I talked to HUD directly, people there, and said that if you ask for less, we're going to go to that 5-year plan, and the language in there says that you need more, and we're going to say that the municipality that you're in says it needs more, so we'll never remove it. When I brought that to the attention of the city council, they went, "That's not true."
They lied. They did a spin, and they said,
"It's
"We don't."
exactly
Yeah,
true. I got
they
it right
did
from the
this.
source."
And this has been 15 years. Encourage the JHA board to prioritize home ownership housing options to reduce the poverty rate in the city.
Remember when I put the home ownership program into place when I was on the
And they
housing board?
poo-pooed it.
And they
poo-pooed
shot
it.
me down.
Request the JHA to require overnight visitors to register within 24 hours. They don't do that.
No.
Folks, we hear stories about weeks. Hold all occupants of public housing accountable for any misconduct committed by registered guests. We're still dealing with this. The JHA should be encouraged to develop and/or strengthen a regular case management process for all tenants receiving services to help them move beyond the need for assistance when possible. Folks, in case you don't remember, they shut down Prospect, forcibly evicted everybody for $100 because of structural issues.
Well, it was questionably legal, yeah. But the difference is they were trying to push the Prospect area into private ownership.
Yeah, they were
One of
trying
their
to.
friends.
That was one of the revenue streams.
Yeah, that was a farce.
The JHA should be strongly encouraged to work with other agencies, groups, such as the Greater Johnstown Landlord Association, to ensure landlords renting to JHA families are working together for the benefit of the whole community.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, are you seeing a trend here? These are not bad ideas. They never implemented them.
No implementation.
Then there was recommendations on education. Establish a neighborhood activity center advisory panel, including one council person that will work with representatives from the Johnstown Housing Authority, the Greater Johnstown School District, and community partners. Never happened.
No.
Never happened. Request that the neighborhood advisory panel seek funds for grant writing expenses for the neighborhood activity centers. Again, Never happened. Create neighborhood activity centers that will provide programming for youth and parents in each area of the city.
Nothing.
Never happened. Continue to partner with the Greater Johnstown School District, the City of Johnstown, and the Johnstown Police Department for school resource officers. That actually did happen.
Well, yeah, that way they can have a police officer in the school and they can arrest
Yes.
my child for doing nothing.
And they did that.
Yeah.
Now, they had law enforcement recommendations to City Council, and this was an official report, folks. Representative Brian Barbin commissioned this. They all participated. They voted to accept it. For law enforcement, create a strategic enforcement team consisting of 4 police officers and 2 intelligence analysts to target drug and violent crime. The estimated cost is $350,000 to $400,000 per year.
Did they do any of that?
No.
No.
In fact, to make it worse, at the time of this report, we still had the NDIC. Do you remember them? National Drug Intelligence Center, based out of Johnstown. We lost that within a couple years of this because Mirtha died and the funding dried up.
Mm-hmm.
Hire or transfer a civilian employee to handle administrative matters to maximize police patrol time. And if you look at our civilian police board, folks, don't even get me started. Hire additional police officers designated for drug and violent crime as money becomes available.
Nope.
They gave them a raise, but they didn't hire any more. Recommend that the mayor and city manager meet with members of Chamber of Commerce, Conemaugh Health Systems, and area nonprofits to form an organization similar to Operation Our Town and to submit grant applications for additional funds directed towards drug and violent crime prevention.
Nothing.
Folks, I'm not just reading this out of the air. This is a legitimate report. Rehabilitation. This is their recommendations. Establish a panel consisting of city, facility managers, stakeholder representatives, and a member of the city council.
You know, one of the things I hear a lot is we complain, but we don't have any plans.
Yeah, we're giving you to the part right now.
We complain because we never do anything real. They never fix anything.
No.
They have meetings to talk about something, and once they talk about it, everybody forgets about it, it disappears, but the problem doesn't disappear. This has been a problem. As we can see, obviously it was enough problem for them to have a crime commission in 2013. So even before then it was an issue. We're talking over a decade. Did they implement any of the things?
No.
No. And when I tried to implement some of the stuff that was in there and would go, well, this is part of the crime report, they completely shot me down. And we still have the problems that we had in 2013.
Request the city manager to meet with halfway houses to confirm hours of operation and the scheduling of unsupervised activity. Schedule meetings between the city manager, stakeholders, and facility managers to encourage open and honest dialogue and volunteer activities. Require all community correction center rehabilitation facilities operating within the city to be subject to quarterly inspections to ensure a higher level of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, nothing. They've never done this. Encourage community correction center and rehabilitation facilities to conduct computer job searches at their own facilities instead of the Gloucester Library. Joe, what are you seeing here?
Well, I see that there's been an uptick in the crime, and they're going to make it look like they're addressing it. And they're going to have a meeting. They're going to create a task force. Same thing they've already done. They've had recommendations before. They never implement them. What they're going to do now is they're going to have a meeting. They're going to get applauded in the paper. Oh, they're having a meeting.
But nothing
Great.
is going to change.
And then they're not going to do anything with it. And hopefully for them, all the crime and stuff will die down enough and people will stop talking about it and it'll just get ignored.
Folks, this report, even though it's from July 2013, Sylvia, I know you watch these videos. I know all of council watches these. You could literally take this report right now, take these recommendations, especially the Section 8, implement them. You don't have to waste time meeting with your department head. Sylvia, you already did this.
Well, this should have been going on for over a decade ago.
But they're not.
And if it would have been, where we are right now would be so much better. And that's the problem. With these people, there's no long-term thought process. It's all right now. So right now, they're going to say something that sounds good. They're going to push that out in the media, and then they're going to ignore it, and there's never going to be any long-term corrections to any of the problems. therefore making the problems worse. And they'll continue to get worse because all they're doing is band-aiding short-term fixes. And the fixes for them is to just make everybody quiet. And that's what, same with the cats.
And anybody that says
same
anything,
stuff.
you're negative,
You're negative.
you're racist.
It's a start.
The cat issue, folks, as we're talking about, you brought that up.
It's a start.
They said it was a pilot program. They're spending $4,000 to neuter 26 cats
Out of the 10,000 that we have in the city.
and a couple of the JAWS people, and then they had to defend Vision because it was a Vision formed 501c. Folks, we're not against animal control. If you watch my Facebook,
and I'm not against those groups doing this work.
Yeah.
I'm against this. I'm against the city council giving government money to them to pretend like they did something.
Yeah, when nothing is going to change.
I want the city, like the $4,000, they should be able to go to Vision and get a grant from Vision or community foundations to get their
Trap and release
funds. That's where they should go to get that money.
And then come to council to approve it because it's still government.
The council,
you can do this.
The council should be making a position for an animal control, whether it's directly in the city or it's a county-wide position with a county animal control and a county shelter. I don't care if it's a county or city, but someone should do something, one way or the other.
And they're not.
And that's what they're not doing. Is it $4,000? Great. But they should got it somewhere else because the city should be putting their money into things that only a city government or quasi-government agencies can have an animal control officer. I can't just get a order off of the internet, an animal control suit, and go out and be an animal control officer. That's not how it works. I want to pick up my phone and say, there's two pit bulls in the street that look like they're going to attack a kid. And I want someone to come and I want someone to take that dog. I want to be able to call somebody and have that taken care of. And then for them to pick them up off the street and get them off of my neighborhood, off of my porch or wherever. That's what I want. And that's what the community wants. And they're going to appease them with this $4,000. And look, they did something. It's a start. And all the bleeding hearts, they're all going to go home and make their own pants and talk about whatever the hell they're talking about. And it's not going to get anything done. But they're going to feel good. And that's what it's about. We made people feel good by giving them some money. Problem's still there. They're going to have a meeting about crime. People are going to feel good about it. Problem's still there. We're going to go out and pray. It worked. Problem's still there. That's because they didn't actually fix the problem. They made people feel good about it, but it didn't get fixed. That's not complaining. That's pointing out what's going on. You say there's no solutions? We're telling you the solutions. These are the solutions. There's a bunch of them in the paperwork. They were 2013 was that?
2013.
Over a decade ago.
It took them 3 years to put together the crime commission. Our mayor was on the commission.
She was on it.
She voted for this. She approved it. And then never implemented a single policy in all these decades.
And firsthand experience, I was involved in government back then. I was on the housing and council back then, and I tried to implement those things, and I got shit on. Like it was some kind of curse that I would bring those things out. So they really don't. They want to be put up on a pedestal that they're having a meeting. They did a crime report, but they don't actually want to implement the policies that are going to fix anything. Because when someone does, well, maybe if their people did, but because I wasn't on the inside, then I got crapped on for it. They're not fixing the problems. So here's the solution. Pick some of those things and then do them. Those are government things to do. Like I said, they're not stuff that the regular citizen can just go out, walk out their front door and do. The government has to do them. So do them. Quit having.
But what is their plan? The city passed a comprehensive plan. They don't want to do it. They're saying Jari, Vision, and the community foundation will have the burden of doing it.
They're going to farm out that stuff, but in the meantime, they're going to give money to nonprofits to do.
Not the solution, folks. But again, as I always say, you voted for this.
That's what you want, and that's why I have no faith in the community progressing. I don't, because this is what people have shown they wanted, time and time again. I've been here 20 years in this city. I grew up outside of the city. So my entire life, I have watched this area decline.
And it continues to decline.
And when you tell people, hey, we shouldn't do it this way, and you should do it this way, they chastise you, and it's like you got a third eye. No, You wanted this. You're getting it. Deal with it. This is your problem. Here are the solutions. I'll bet you $100. No one's going to do anything. They're going to have a meeting. They're going to talk about it. Everything in the
Great
paper.
article in the paper.
Oh.
Great at a meeting, and it won't be public. God forbid it's public.
But that they're gonna praise it. Problem solved. We had a meeting. Well, the problem was already solved. We had a prayer walk. It worked, she said.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Then we have two shootings.
I was on the housing authority. There was a fight with someone with a gun. I was already trying to put cameras in that had plate readers so we could help, take care of some of the issues there. Because I figured, they said about the people coming in. I said, well, if we have cameras up in the housing authority property, when cars come in, it automatically reads the plate, and if that plate's connected to anything, it should the people who shouldn't be there or has a warrant or something, it's going to pop up on the police, and they got you automatically. And the paper said, too little, too late.
Too little. I remember that. Too little, too late.
Because
you weren't on the inside.
That was over a decade ago. Is it still too late for those? I don't know, because I don't think they have that stuff there anymore.
They're still talking about it.
They're going to talk about it some more. Maybe they'll have a meeting on it. Put it in. Use it. Clean it up. That's how you clean it up. Because to say you're going to have the people register and everything else, it's too hard to do that with people. It's just...
The city's answer is they passed a motion to have all 413 Section 8 properties owned in the city inspected by the city.
That's great, but that's not gonna solve the problem of the people coming in.
No.
But
they don't want to hear that. Remember, I go to the housing authority, folks. They promised to give me some kind of documentation that Representative Burns was wrong and they don't have the power to change or right size, after Burns' term, the housing authority. They won't do it. Another topic this week, folks, I went to the Cambria County Prison Board meeting. I'm waiting on an appeal decision to see if their federal RICO and racketeering investigation records have to be made public. They are arguing they don't. My argument is there's administrative and procedural paperwork that they have to give. Whether they release it or not, they were in the Tribune this week for an article because the 5-year investigation, it's 5 years. They admitted in their brief that the case is closed. They won't comment on it.
Well, because they had guards there that were bringing in drugs and things.
For sexual favors there. They violated the PREA law, Prison Rape Elimination Act, and they just bury it. And folks, I'm very critical of the media because it's our media's job to say, what's going on? Here's what's happening. Why aren't you fixing it?
You won't hear about it. And honestly, I don't pay much attention to the prison.
I do. The prison is our largest chunk of our Cambria County budget. It is our biggest drain that they're putting out, 35, 40 million.
Why are we paying so much for the prison?
Because it's the biggest draw they have.
But
jobs. Yeah.
Is it to house people who are criminals from Johnstown and Cambria County, or are we importing people?
We're importing. We have about 76 ICE, maybe about another 70 from the Marshal Service.
And then the question comes in is, are we charging enough to house these other out of area criminals to pay for them, or are the Cambria County taxpayers subsidizing other areas' criminals?
And here's the other thing, folks. I've been going to these meetings now for about a year and a half. I've seen success. Since I've gone, because I go with Etta Albright sometimes, just me having these videos online, they now moved the meetings to the prison. They now have a monthly mental health report, basically because I was right to know requesting all the records just to stop the paperwork. They're finally being more transparent, but they're not explaining about, there's RICO and there's racketeering investigation. Folks, it's an embarrassment.
Why are we subsidizing other people's prisoners?
Good question. But that's we don't have the money for it. We don't have the money.
Isn't that something that they should be, shouldn't our commissioners be the ones checking that and saying, hey,
I brought up about privatizing because folks, it's the cost. They usually have between 300 and 400 inmates. So 300 or 400 inmates a year to house, support, hire, somewhere between 35 and 40 million they're spending. That's over half of our county budget. So you're spending all this money for a couple hundred people. You look at Blair County, they were in the Altoona Mirror this week. They have the exact opposite problem. They don't have enough inmates to fill the Blair County jail. Center County has the same issue. Now, granted, we have more crime in Cambria. That's why we have larger criminal populations. But that falls on who they're importing here.
I don't know the distribution of people.
I sit through these lovely meetings every month.
But like you said, we have more crime here. But are they actually importing people to our prisons?
Oh, they are. They admit that. 76 ICE and about 70 U.S. Marshals.
Is Blair County doing that?
No.
And why are they not doing it? Is it because those programs don't pay enough to to
I don't have the answer.
it could be that whatever those programs are don't pay enough to
I
make
can tell you from the meeting on Wednesday, the ICE detainees and the U.S. Marshal detainees brought in about $850,000 so far this year. So it's a revenue stream for the county,
yeah.
and that's new. And folks, the ICE thing's not going to last.
This is really simple stuff. You don't have to be a rocket surgeon.
Mhm.
All you have to go is the money coming in for these people pay for all the services that we have to put out for these people? And if it doesn't, that means the Cambria County taxpayers are then subsidizing you bringing people in. You can't do anything about the prisoners, the people we have that are local, that are from. But I'm saying bringing in the people. If they are a net positive to it, then great. If they are a net negative, cut it off.
It needs to be discussed.
And the commissioners, since they're funding it, that's their job. Do they even talk about it, the commissioners? Do the
Very
commissioners even
rarely.
care?
They raise our taxes. They borrow money.
Remember, you hired them.
Oh, yeah.
You hired those people. And this is an advanced level math. This is very simple. Here's the numbers, pluses and minuses. Add it up. And if they can't do that, that's their job. And they should be able to say, yep, it's a net positive. Or, nope, it's a net negative. Let's cut that program. Or we go back to that program and say, hey, it's costing us this much. We need to see more. But obviously, they're not. They don't care. That would be my question. Are they a net positive or a net negative?
They're usually at a negative.
Yeah, so.
Other goings on in the community. I did a video. Today was the first day of the Johnstown Farmers Market. They had 19
around the mud
vendors.
hole.
Actually, it's over on Market Street by the City Hall.
Good.
And folks, if you drive downtown, there's a video on Facebook. I guess one of the light towers fell over on a cement truck and it's being propped up. Folks, I'm not making this up. You can watch it on Facebook. I went there. I've been promoting the farmers market for a long time. I think it's a great thing to do, community aspect, but it's not well attended. They need to have more people. If we don't support community events like this, we're going to have more crime. Plain and simple. We need to have the positive. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm not going down to the farmers market, so
I tend to go. I bought a loaf of bread there today. So, folks, this is our weekly installment of I don't know if we're calling it Barbin's Crime Report or Whiplash or whatever. Please share these videos. I will post the entire crime report online.
Just call it a waste of time because they're going to do the same thing over and over.
Groundhog Day. Over and over, nothing changes. But, folks, thank you for watching these videos. We want to know what you think. Leave your comments. Tell us we're right. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're horrible people.
Blame it all on us.
We have no solutions. Blame us.
Our fault.
I have people tagging me every day going, well, what's your plan? And I'll say, well, here are our videos. You never made videos. I've made hundreds. But they don't want to hear that. They want a simple one-line answer.
The solutions to our problems are simple. But unfortunately, it's not a silver bullet solution. There's a lot of little things we need to do to correct the problem, but we're just not doing it. And they haven't been doing it since I got involved in politics. They have fought every single thing because it's their way or you're negative and horrible. I mean, it's always their way. They want
and they have their little clique of people. And folks, it's usually the blue-haired Democrats we love so much.
The crazies and all the nonprofits, and they want everything their way. Hell, when I was planting trees, they would give me money to do it, and it had to be where they wanted it. It had to be over here, and it's always they try and control everything. Everything's great as long as you're doing what they want you to do.
And they're destroying the area.
And if you want to do anything different, no, you're horrible, evil.
So please share our video. Thank you for our installment of.
Listen, aren't we doing the Y files or the Johnstown?
The Johnstown Y files. Hopefully you like our little poster. There's more to come. Until next week, folks. Stay classy.